All right, we're recording. Um, okay, so hold on. Tell me if you guys can see. What the fuck? How does this look for you guys? Good? Golden? Sweet, 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 sweet. Alrighty. So I first want to start off with just a little bit of my story. Again, I am just another dude doing this stuff just like you guys. Um, But for me, it took me like I've been doing this 5 years. It took me a good 3 years to really become profitable and at a place where I feel good and feel comfortable and confident in trading. And that's my own personal timeline. I have buddies that have done it in a few months. I have buddies that have done it in 1 year. Like it's the timeline's different for every single person. But looking back, one of the biggest things for me was I just really wasn't actually committing myself. I was saying I was committing myself, especially those first few years, but I wasn't. Looking at it like I wasn't. I wasn't journaling. I wasn't really understanding why I wasn't winning trades on my own. I was kind of just alert botting, like following alerts, which honestly, to learn, it's a great way to do it. As long as you're looking at why the trade is happening, right? So the biggest thing about it is to build that confidence in yourself, in your setups, all those types of things. Because at the end of the day, this shit should be robotic. You shouldn't have emotions in this. You shouldn't, like losing is guaranteed in trading. TT and I have talked about it a ton of times, but you only need a 35% win rate to be profitable as long as you're hitting 2R. And with that, that means 60 to 70% of the time you're going to be losing. And that's okay. You know what I mean? Like that's something that shouldn't discourage you. Of course, we want to win every single time. Of course we do. Of course we do. But is it going to happen? Fuck no. Really, really isn't going to happen. So, like in developing that mental stability and being like, hey, I'm good. Like at least you're following your system, you're following your rules. That's going to build that confidence over time. So, I made this little slideshow. I didn't really add a lot to it. A lot of it's just going to be kind of me yapping over the top. So forgive me if I kind of lead astray. I'm really good at rambling and just blah blah blahing, but let's figure it out. So why is mentality the key to success in trading? Kind of like what I was just saying. It should be robotic. You should feel confident in every single day going into it, win or lose. It shouldn't really matter to you, right? It shouldn't. Like, of course, again, you want to win every time. Of course you do. Of course you do. Everyone wants to. People get greedy, tilty, whatever it is when you start to lose. But it's, again, like, let's just throw 1 week, right? Let's say you make 200 bucks first day of the week. You lose 100 bucks the second day of the week. You make 200 bucks on a third day of the week. You lose 200 bucks on the fourth day of the week. Then you make 100 bucks on the fifth day of the week. You still made $300 that week, even though you had 2 red days and you managed your risk on those red days. You took the loss, maybe 2 losses, and you got the fuck off the charts. Because, especially lately, price hasn't been ideal. It really has not been ideal. There's been a lot of just weirdness, either really volatile or almost no volatility. It's like you can't control that. And honestly, the market doesn't give a fuck about you. It never will. So you got to find the times where you should strike. I look at Rob a lot because, dude, I mean, you guys see him. He trades what, twice a week, maybe something like that, and he does well for himself. Like he does well for himself, and that's something like even me personally, I want to stop over trading and trading as much as I do. But when you have that mental stamina, like it just builds up. You sit there and you can actually fucking grow in your progress and in your journey, especially if you're journaling and you're really looking at trading for what it is you're risking. All it is risk. It's just risk. Some people have a much higher risk tolerance. Some people have near to no risk tolerance. You know what I mean? And coolest part is you can trade based off your risk tolerance. You know what I mean? Let's say you have a heavy risk tolerance and you want to take a few trades a week or a day, I mean, sorry. Then you can. You know what I mean? Like look at this challenge account, right? I am trading way more than I normally do on it but we're making it work. I'm adjusting my risk tolerance for this account. We're up triple of what we started with, right? And that's sick. That's awesome. But me personally, on my personal account, like I'm only taking 2 trades a week, maybe 3 on options. And that account's still doing wonderful too. Like honestly, the percent growth is about the same. It's just I'm more selective with them and I go heavier on my personal account. You know what I mean? And so discover your own risk tolerance and start basing your trades off that and less about what you see around. Less about what you see around. So I found this quote by Helen Keller. Still don't even know if she's a real person ever, but I thought this was a good ass quote. So optimism is a faith that leads to achievement. Nothing can be done without hope and confidence. And like for me personally, I've always been a really optimistic person. And you got it. Like in this, of course, you're in this business and you're trying to learn this skill to make some more money. And for the most part, that's the achievement, right? That's the achievement at the end of the rainbow type of thing here. And with that, you've got to have the hope and confidence in yourself. Like there is days where this shit sucks. Trust me. I have had, like, I've probably wanted to quit, fuck, 6, 7 times in the last 2 years. And like legitimately, like, deleted accounts, deleted apps, took a week or two off. Like last year, in April or so, I took a whole month and a half off. I couldn't do it. I thought I was done forever. And like hindsight looking back, when I came back, that was the best decision I ever made. I ended that year off incredibly strong. You know what I mean? And it's changed my entire life because of that. But taking that month and a half off, I think is what helped me kind of reset my mental stamina because again, this is draining. It's all you're doing is putting on risk every single day. And yeah, it can be very straining on the brain. It really, really can be. I get it. Trust me. All of the analysts get it. Everyone in here gets that, like, and if you need to take breaks, like, do it. It benefits you more than you think, like having a really clear robotic brain in trading is basically the best thing you can do for yourself. Like it clears so many doubts. It clears so many, feelings of tilting, so many things like that, that if you're in the motion and you're doing it every single day, and you're not giving yourself that breathing room, or for me, like how I do it is I just relax like crazy on the weekends. I don't look at the markets. I don't think about the markets on the weekend. I don't, because if I do, I'm going to take any sort of negativity from this week into next week. That shit's going to compound. That shit's going to compound like crazy. Next thing you know, you'll be 2, 3 months down the road and you're ready just to fucking say, fuck all this. I'm out of here. I don't want to do this. Like, I'm done. And sometimes you need to reach those breaking points. You do. But just really kind of having those internal talks with yourself is massive. It's massive. By the way, I'm not looking at chat, so I will get to it towards the end. I'm going to do a Q&A towards the end. So, write your questions down. You can write them in chat, whatever it is. I will get to them. But for now, I'm just going to yap. So confidence, it's kind of what I keep talking about, but confidence is everything in trading. You got to be confident in your setups. You go and deep dive a ton of different setups. We trade ICT here, but I know people that are super profitable that just trade supply and demand. Like people that trade VWAP, people that trade EMA. I mean, we think they're dumb and we kind of clown them here, but you can be insanely profitable trading any type of strategy. Stick your strategy down, become robotic with it, and gain complete confidence in it. I promise you, at the end of the day, that will do so much more for you than trying to get incredibly technical with numbers and fibs and, precision and all that stuff. That's for a later time. The confidence is first and foremost number one. Like, seriously, sit there and just dial it in. And that also applies to yourself. You know what I mean? Like, of course, the setups, the charts, the trades, all that is the key here, right? But if you're not confident in yourself, you're not like, hey, I can do this. I can fucking do this. Like those types of things and those internal talks and dialogues are huge, and it's like, I'm a big believer in don't talk down on yourself ever. You know what I mean? Don't ever say, God, I fucking suck at this. Like, don't ever say, like, I will never be as good as so and so, this, that, the other. You know what I mean? Saying those things actually do tell your brain and make you believe that over time. So don't, like gain that confidence in yourself. That's just in life in general. Of course, it translates to trading because it translates to everything. It translates to your relationships, it translates to your family, it translates to business, it translates to everything. But having confidence is key. If any of you guys have done sales, you can't be an unconfident motherfucker. Like you can't call someone and be scared that you're going to say something wrong because you're going to say it wrong if you feel that way. Like you will, and then that might lose you the sale, that might lose you the lead, whatever the case is. But having that confidence is, to me, the most important thing, just in life, but of course in trading as well. And this is the one that I really, really, really want to talk to you guys about the most, and it's like, I've mentioned it a few times, but I see a lot of you, just all of you, me too. I'm not talking about you, me. No one's better than anyone else here, right? But set realistic expectations for your trading. And this again, it applies to everything in life, but we'll keep it just to trading here so I don't go off in a million different, ways. But biggest thing is, look, we're in this for money, right? How much do you realistically need per month? Of course, yeah, we want to make 10, 20, 30, 50, 100K a month. Of course, of fucking course. But I talk about this all the time. I really only need like 2,500 bucks a month to be fine. So once I get there, everything's locked in. I pay myself, I'm done. Everything else that happens the rest of the month is just gravy. But like set a realistic expectation. So like for me, let's say I shoot for 4K minimum a month. That's $1,000 a week. And with fundeds and options and everything in between, you can narrow that down to literally that's $200 a day between my 8 different ways to make that. Like it's really easy when you look at it like that, right? Like let's say a funded account, $1,000 a week, that is just a $200 day for 5 days in a row. That's not incredibly hard. You know what I mean? I see you guys in the profit loss channel. You guys have had green days left and right. I saw a few of you guys have like $5,000-$10,000 weeks. That's awesome. That's super awesome. And I'm not saying limit yourself. I'm just saying be realistic. Like I get it. Trust me, I get it. There's a few people that I know and I follow that are making 50 plus a month, and it of course it's awesome, and like that is something I want, and it only gives me inspiration to eventually get to there. But I'm also realistic with it. I understand that they've been doing this plus scaling harder than me for longer, and they have a better understanding of the game, the leverage, everything in between. You know what I mean? And so be realistic with yourself. Don't get ahead of yourself. Hold on, I need a little bit of water real quick. But yeah, I don't know. Just keep things realistic. I totally get how easy it is to get greedy in this business. It is super duper easy, especially when you've had, let's say, a crazy day, crazy week, crazy month, where you've made so much more than you could have ever imagined. Don't try to keep that pace up. Of course, yeah, try to keep momentum rolling. Don't let yourself slack, but don't try to make that happen every month. It will bring you to a place of greed, bring it to a place where you're gonna crash out. You're gonna do some stupid shit, and like honestly, I lost like 40K to start the year trying to do that, and it's like I've made it back. I'm good now, but I look at where my head was at. It was because I was trying to replicate the pace that I was on for like the last 3 months before that, which again, like that was awesome, and I kind of got lucky, kind of got blessed, whatever you want to say, for those 3 months that I was just absolutely juicing. But then I got humbled real quick. And that's the market's going to do that to you every single time. So when it humbles you, listen, take a step back, chill the fuck out, and remember what the realistic expectations are. I think almost everyone in here will be pretty stoked about an extra grand or two a month. You know what I mean? And we just did that on a $500 options port. We've done $1,200 this month so far. You know what I mean? Like I feel like for most people, that's great. I don't think anyone would be too mad about an extra $1,200 straight in their pocket in a month, 1 month. And then, since we're doing it the way we're doing it, next month should be bigger because we're scaling as we go, and it's like, set those really, like, don't rush it is another thing. Yeah, don't rush it. But yeah, and this is the biggest part is comparison is a thief of joy, but not only joy, it's also success. Again, you see these people all over, Twitter, maybe even in the Discord, your friends, whatever the case may be. I know, dude, I know it's so easy to see those big numbers and be like, fuck, I know I can do that too. Because you can, yes, you can, 100%. And you should believe that about yourself. But again, don't compare. Know you're on your own path and you'll get there when you're supposed to get there. So don't compare. Look at it as inspiration, but don't let that discourage you and be like, damn, I only made 1,000 this month, or I'm red this month, and this person made 15, 20, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, you know the numbers, you see them all day. Yeah, it's tough to see. Like, sometimes it is annoying to see someone like, I saw this post the other day that someone turned like $800 into like 400,000 on some stupid calls, and it's like, yeah, I would love that too. But I didn't catch it, and there's going to be another opportunity like that tomorrow or the next day, next week, next month, whatever it is. So I'm not worried about it. I'm not going to let that discourage me. I'm not even going to really think about it once I scroll right past that post. You know what I mean? But first initial thought, of course, I'm like, damn, if I was in that too, I could have been blah, 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 XXX, blah, 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 but it's like, that's only going to put you down the spiral of the bad rabbit hole. So just ignore it and focus on your own journey. I promise you it'll take you much, much farther, especially in trading. Because like I said, trading is 90% mentality, 10% actual technical and execution. The rest of it is being patient, following your rules, staying disciplined, and building that confidence in your system. So put the work in and you will reap the benefits of your success. Like I just said, forward test, back test. Focus on everything that you know you're struggling with. Journal every trade. If you are struggling to become profitable, I promise you, journaling, it helps a lot. I've got to the point where I don't really journal as much anymore. But when I have a tough day, I go and I journal and I make sure I understand what the fuck I did wrong. Whether it was mental, breaking rules, or just simply a day where my setup didn't work. You know what I mean? But I go write those feelings down. I go and do that and put that work in. Trading is such an interesting thing because, at the end of the day, we're sitting on our phones or computers clicking a few buttons. So it doesn't really feel like work sometimes. For sure, it just really doesn't feel like work, and I get that. You know what I mean? Like, to be honest, like, you guys see me, like, at nighttime especially, like, I'm playing video games while I'm trading sometimes. You know what I mean? And it's like, yeah, that's not work, really. But compared to, I guess, let's say, like, blue collar or whatever, right? But it's just, you gotta focus on the growth in your journey and put that work in. Like, understand where your downfalls are, understand where your upsides are as well, and be realistic. Focus on the growth of what you can do. And also, all the analysts here are here for a reason. We're all happy. DM us, like, DM us if you've got struggles or questions, or you're working on, you're journaling something and something's not making sense, or you find something that you keep struggling with repeatedly and you can see that this one thing is the issue, but you don't know how to fix it. Trust me, I promise one of us have gone through a situation that's very similar and have had to learn the hard way to get through it. You know what I mean? And like, that's one thing about this Discord. All we're here for is just to help. I mean, if we wanted it for money, we'd be charging you guys already. If we wanted it for clout or whatever, we'd be doing this, that, the other. All we're here for is we want to see growth. This skill has changed all of our lives in their own right. And we kind of had a talk about this the other day, but like, we've all kind of been finding our faith again, and it's one of those things that it's like, if you help others, your work will just grow exponentially as well. You know what I mean? And it's like, because that's what it's all about. Like, we all should win. I don't see why I need to win, or just TT, or just Alex, or just Rob, or just Swami need to win. Like, we want everyone to win. Like, and it's super awesome that we found this community, because when either of us or any of us have a crazy trade day or whatever the case may be, we only congratulate each other. There's never been any sort of negativity towards each other at all, which is fucking awesome. I think it's rare, especially nowadays. But seriously, you're in a good spot, and we're not here for greed. We're here to help. We genuinely are, and that's what we're here to do. So, like, reach out when you've got struggles, whatever it is, but put the work in. I promise you, it will pay off. So this is kind of just really simple, basically just going over what I just said. So identify your model first and foremost. Like, if you guys want to just copy what we do, we have a few classes out there going over ICT, liquidities, whatever the case may be, so you can go and understand how we trade, because we all trade pretty similar, just a little different entry points. That's it. So you can go learn it that way. But again, I have seen super successful traders simply trade supply and demand. I'm sure you guys have seen Blake Stocks on Twitter. Dude only trades supply and demand. He just does leaps right as it's back into a supply zone or demand zone, and he's up like 300K this year. Like, fucking awesome. It's super possible. Whatever makes sense in your brain, Stick with that. Stick with that. We might like make fun of you for drawing a trend line sometimes, but at the same time, if it works for you, it works for you. You know what I mean? Just do that. And then again, back test and forward test. Please, like, please back test every weekend if you're struggling and you really, really, really want to get this shit down. Hold on one sec. I need to plug in my headset. All right. But yeah, back test every single weekend, every day too. Like there was a period for a month or two that I had did FX replay every single day, and I just beat that setup into my brain. Liquidity sweep, 1 to 5 minute IFEG entry, targeting internal and external liquidities. Just sitting there doing that over and over and over and over and over again, taking data of which ones worked, which ones didn't, why they worked, why they didn't, and just sat there and been like, okay, this is a good setup. It helps you identify that A plus setup and lets you get to that point where, again, it's robotic in its confidence. And that's the next point, is become robotic. Like once you find that model and it's ingrained into your brain, never sway away from it. Don't try to overcomplicate it. Do it every time. Every time it presents itself, click the button. Put the risk on. Build that confidence where you're not doubting that at all. And then again, set the goals, be realistic. How much do you need to take or make per month, and how many trades do you want to take? All those types of things. Just set your goals, set a real system. Like, don't just be wishy-washy with your system. Be real with yourself. Treat this as a business. This is a business. This can be the biggest change in your entire life. We've got a few people in here that are uber successful from doing this alone. Like if you want to look at us as example, please do. But just be realistic. Treat it as a business. Grow it in your own way. And maybe it takes longer for you than someone else. That's okay. That's completely okay. But I don't know. I think it's just it is super easy to dive deep and dive headfirst into the negativity, whatever the case may be. But focus on your own journey, grow that confidence, and I promise you in the long run it'll be super worth it. Even if day trading type of short-term trading isn't what works for your brain, you're going to learn how to be a really good general investor. I know a lot of people in here just trade shares. They just buy shares, hold them for 2-3 weeks, a month, 2 months, something like that. Make 20% on that instead of the 8% on average in the S&P. Just do that if that works better for you. You don't have to be like everyone else. Figure out your niche, figure out your way, and do that. Like, grow in your own right and just do that. That's all you have to do. And trust me, I know it's hard. Like, that confidence can get beat down too, even when you're feeling like you're on top of the world. But it's good. It's good. That just builds more character. I promise you. But yeah, that's pretty much it for a guy like me. So I am yeah, I'm here for, what's it called? Q&As and whatnot now. Okay, one sec. Let me go through. I missed a lot of them. Resetting the mental again, dude. Take your time on your weekends. Enjoy your fucking weekends. Like, I can't lie. I think it's corny as fuck when people are like, "Well, I'm a trader. I hate the weekends. What am I doing now? I'm just sitting here waiting for Monday to come around." I'm like, no, fuck you. Go enjoy your weekend. Go hang out with your family. Go meet a girl. Go on a hike. Go make crazy food that you wanted to make all week. Do something. Do something big. Like, seriously, do something big that just gets your mind completely off the market. Please do. Like, please. Really enjoying following your challenge account. Great works. Do you post your account trades separately? I do, yeah. I'll name it challenge play when it's for the challenge account, and I just won't say anything when it's for my personal. Current biggest question is how to become robotic while keeping the confidence behind the setup. I struggle with trying to keep emotions out and being confident at the same time. I think that boils honestly down to predefining your risk. So, right before you enter the trade, you should know where your stop loss is. You should know what type of dollars are going to be lost if you lose. And you always have to look at it as if you lose first and foremost. And if you accept that and you're good off that, then press the button and don't touch it. Like, don't touch it from there. If it stops, it stops. You're going to lose. I promise you, you will. But, if it's predefined and you're okay with it, your account's okay with it, everything in between, like, just do that. Just do that. So just doing it over and over, reps, it's just reps, dude. Like, again, like, I relate it to sales a lot because sales is kind of, in my opinion, one of a thing mentally that's similar to this. But yeah, like your first phone call is gonna suck ass. Your first door that you knock is gonna suck ass. I promise you. Like I remember, I fucking look back at one of the first like doors I walked into. I was like, "Hey, I'm Jacob. I'm with blah blah. Where's your marketing department?" But in my head, I remember I had so much more to say before that, and like just like looking back, I laugh at myself now. But in that moment, I was so embarrassed. I was fucking like, "Oh, I never want to do this again," you know. But after time and time again, now I can walk into any building and say, "What's up? I got the biggest thing in here, bro. What do we gotta do to get your business?" You know. So, anyways, it's just a confidence is reps. I would say reps, like TT said, back test, and just do it over and over and over again. Um, Let me see. Yeah, back testing and back shots. Yeah, every fucking day, baby. Oh, that was not the microwave. That was my foot massager, by the way. Any Rex on journaling? I just use Google Slides. Let me see if I can. I'll show you, I guess. Me not dox myself because I'm really good at doxing myself. I can't lie. Really, really good at doxing myself. Let's see. Okay, this is like my trade journal. This is all I do. Got 59 total slides. You know, I don't think I've journaled that much this year. Last one was in April. But yeah, I take a screenshot of the chart, write what's my setup and thoughts were. I write notes while I was in the trade, and then the results. And I just kind of keep it simple like that. I can honestly, this is so easy to set up. I was gonna say I can make you a template, but this is so fucking simple. Anyone can make this really. So I just use this personally. Yeah, even a notebook. Yeah, I've seen a ton of people just write their shit down, and that works too. Honestly, I think there's a little bit more power in writing shit down by hand than typing it. It kind of sticks with your brain a little bit. I pay for FX Replay. I think it's super worth it. Yeah, go get some pussy, bro. Like, get your mind off the market sometimes. TT, you don't want to know, dude. You don't want to know. Don't ever come to my house and don't ever touch this fucking foot massager. I promise you. Save yourself the yeah. My upstart trade. Yeah, I can do one or two little trade recaps. But yeah, we'll just make it a single. I think it was no, it was weekly. No, it was daily entry, but weekly. No, 4 hour question mark. Oh yeah. Fuck. Yeah. 4 hour inverse here was where I entered, but it was all about the weekly time frame. It was really just a weekly change in the state of delivery was what made me want to get in here. That all changed. We came in, we swept this. Like it doesn't really get a lot cleaner than this. You know what I mean? It came down, swept this liquidity, and then held this weekly FEG very, very well and strong, and reversed with strength. That's a big thing is reverse with strength. See how quick and good it reversed, and then it came up and it came tapped into the structure, reversed, but it still held this weekly FEG. Like these are the types of setups you want to find where you can see the strength. Like not much more downside, and if it comes and breaks this liquidity, it's not worth looking at, right? But once it changed this, really I wanted to wait for this whole weekly inverse, which I ended up doing the next day or next like week or something, and it still just ripped. So I entered here, and I'm still targeting up here, and that's really all it was. Very simple, just liquidity sweep, inversion, changes the state of delivery, holding FEGs, showing strength, showing speed, and then targeting upside or downside if you want to look for the other way. Um, my question towards the model, you mentioned you look for a liquidity sweep into an IFEG, targeting either internal or external liquidity. My question, what do you do when other confluences present themselves and not the ones you mentioned do? For example, what if it's in an OB IFEG? It just adds more confidence, but to be honest, dude, I don't even really look at OBs. Like I barely do. Changes the state of delivery helps a little bit. I trade CISDs on blue chips a lot more than like actual like individual tickers. Um, but on indices, I only trade IFEGs. Simple as that. It can add more confluence, but again, like while you're learning, don't look at them. Just don't look at them. They're gonna overcomplicate it. I think that you can find ones that with all those additional confluences, you're like, this is a fucking insanely good setup. I'm gonna size a little heavier, but don't think about that for now. Dial in your actual setup first, and then you'll be good. Then you'll be good. Um, for the challenge account. Um, God, that emoji's crazy. For the challenge account, can you take swing trades as sometimes it's difficult to catch zero? Yeah, I do. Right now we're in a Roblox swing. We did an Amazon swing. We did an RTX swing. Personally, I am a better swing trader for sure. But like with a challenge account like this, it's kind of a big deal in my opinion to hit those 0 days because you can just compound the account faster, and if you manage risk, it's not going to really damage it too much. But yeah. That's kind of. But I'd mainly like to swing personally, not with other women, but just on that type of stuff. But yeah, I don't have a scanner. I just look. I have like my list of 10, 20 stocks that I kind of keep in rotation in my brain. I have it all on Webull. I'll do this for you. I'll do this. And don't look at all of them. Some of them are just kind of for memes at this point that are on my watch list, but here's like my watch list that I look pretty much every day. If you'll notice, they're almost all blue chips, all high caps, not really any low caps. Again, I know a ton of you guys do like stocks that are in the lower dollar value range, and you guys are killers with it. So I'll never doubt you. I'll never ever doubt you guys on that. But for me personally, I hate trading any sort of low stops or low caps at all. Um, Here, one sec. And then yeah, for sure I'll look them up every now and then when I hear some volume where I like see some news that I'm like, oh, this is gonna affect this industry, whatever. I just put it into the free trading room. I just sent it in there. So when you have a second, you can just go look at that. Mr. O, for someone just trying to go through understanding of the concepts and charts while backtesting, any tickers you recommend, dude? Just keep it as simple as ES and NQ. I promise you, learning and understanding the indices and how they move and how to identify good shit, that's gonna get you way further. Because once you get all that down, like it kind of just applies to everything else. It really does. Like you go look at TT how he trades Tesla. Look at me how I trade coin. Those are single tickers, but we learned what we learned from ES or NQ. Like it just applies. It's the same shit. It really is the exact same shit, just different. And like that's where trading options and having that is kind of a blessing because you'll see, S&P may be up at all-time highs, but you go look at something like Tesla like right now, it's very undervalued compared to where, the indexes are. So when you find those kind of like imbalances, you can take really good advantage of it once you find a good setup, and like you look at the flip-flop, right? Like coins at its all-time high. So is NQ, right? And so it's like it is a little bit of no man's land a little bit, but at the same time it's like fuck, like we might just keep going up, and if you look and it makes sense, then do it. Like right now coin's up, I just barely saw it's up 2.5% after hours. Let's hope that holds, but if it is, then my swings will be looking good come tomorrow. So yeah. I'm gonna stop the recording. I forgot.